Where are we going?
Aerospace.
What is that?
Museum about airplanes.
Okay.
And I mean, mainly what we have here in Toulouse, so mainly Airbus, but airplanes.
They're doing those huge thing.
Yeah, but they have something to remove the rain from the windows.
That looks cool. Look at all those models.
That's the first Airbus. First flight in 1972, 1982. It already looks a bit more like a plane. The most famous Airbus plane, A320. The one that we took a lot. 1987, the first flight, and it's still in service. It's still being built. A340, A330, A380. Do you know why it's A380?
No.
Because they mainly wanted to sell it in China, and 8 in China is the number of luck. So that's why they put an 8 there. And the same for the Boeing. I think there's a 787, something like that, and it's the same. And also they didn't want to put a 7 because 7, like, you will never have an A370 because the 7 is Boeing's number. ATR.
Look, colorful wings.
The military one, so A400M, and the newest one, A350. If you talk about technologies, A320 is automatic control, so you don't have a mechanical link between your control and the control surfaces of your plane anymore. So that's why the plane is so good, because it did something like this. A380 is just the biggest plane. It's not a lot of technology challenges, it's just extremely big. The A350 is the one with a lot of composite materials, so it's a lot lighter. And I think you also have better avionics inside.
There is the Concorde.
So that's the Concorde. To land the Concorde has to be like this to have enough lift. Whatever. It has to be like this. And so they did something very clever at the front. The front of the plane can do this, so that the pilots still see the runway. So that's the thing you see, the black line you see is the thing that can go down.
Let's go inside the Concorde.
Careful, you're too tall.
Patterns.
Okay, so the basics about the Concorde. It was Mach 1 point, I don't know, but over 1, over Mach 1. So it's full of technologies. And here in Toulouse, when you talk about an old engineer who worked on the Concorde, you just realize that they really didn't give a fuck about money. So they were like, hey, I have an idea, maybe we could do that for the Concorde. Oh yeah, that's a good idea, let's just test it. And they were doing it and just testing it, the thing, and oh, it works, let's put that in the Concorde without thinking about how much it would cost. So you have a lot of new technologies, and for technology the Concorde is just, it doesn't have any price. For technology, this thing is amazing. The thing is that they just didn't have the market. It was extremely expensive to build, it was extremely expensive to fix, because it was not thought for that. So I think for 1 hour of flight you had like 150 hours of fixing, like just to fix the airplane, because it was being destroyed during the flight, something like that. It was extremely expensive.
So that's why they shut it down?
Yeah, and there has been an accident with the plane, and they used the accident to say, oh, it's too dangerous, we stopped that. It's just that it was too expensive. So there was no market, there was no one really interested in buying the airplane. It's just that two companies, Air France and British Airways, had a contract before the plane was made, and they said they would buy some. So.
L'envie a empoisonné l'esprit des hommes. Nous avons développé la vitesse pour nous enfermer en nous-mêmes. Notre savoir nous a fait devenir cyniques. Nous sommes inhumains à force d'intelligence. Nous ne ressentons pas assez et nous pensons beaucoup trop. Nous sommes trop mécanisés et nous manquons de tendresse.
Music less store, that's how I prefer my toilets.
Je dis à tous ceux qui m'entendent, ne désespérez pas.
Sept Jaguar.
What does that thing do?
That? It's the pitot sensor. So it gets you have the air getting in with the speed, and you have other sensors that are here. Here you have another hole. That's not a bullet. There's another hole that also gets the pressure. So it gets the pressure at the front and the pressure here. So at the front you have the speed, so the air coming from the speed, and here you don't have it. A little bit we remove the error, and so by making the difference between the outside pressure and the pressure with the speed, you get the speed of the airplane. This is a plane for meteor.
For what?
Meteor, for forecasting.
Oh.
Weather forecasting.
I have a question.
Yep.
What's the difference between a turbine and a compressor?
Very easy question. For the engine to work, it gets some air from the front. It compresses the air inside, and then it will let it. The compressed air will want to go out, so it will go through turbines, and this compressed air will make the turbines roll. So to give the energy for the airplane, and then it will get out. So the compressors are compressing the air, it's what is in front, and the turbines are decompressing the air, it's in the back. So I would say this is compressors. The combustion room should be somewhere there, and after that it's on the turbines.
Okay. So is that a turbine then?
Yes. The first one is called the fan.
Fan.
But it's a compressor. It's just a big one.
Not even 100 years, and that was the technology. It's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, that was after the First World War. Replica of the Unported barrel. The world's
That's
first
just a
aircraft
catapult.
simulator. So these are the wings of the A320.
It's already weird that they just build a plane to transport parts of another plane.
I mean, you have to transport things. It's like a European plane, Airbus. It's a European company. So you have things that are built in the UK, things that are built in Germany, things that are built in Spain, and everything has to be put together here in Toulouse. Or for the A380, it's here in Toulouse. So yeah, everything has to come here, and from the UK it's not obvious how you will do that.
Hello, other Concorde. Military plane. Oh no, I already have rain on my lens. God damn it. Is that where the sensor is?
Yeah, I think so. It is so weird.
Like the knights with the... that's what it has.
These can do some recognition missions, mainly transport.
Well, I'd say it's a nice museum if you like planes, and if you just like to watch planes or stuff. I like that everything is also in English, so I understand. If I want to understand something, I can understand it. And yeah, I mean, if you go to Toulouse, you might as well do something with planes, right?
Make your backup!